All right, it's a little colder today, like 10 degrees colder. There was tornadoes last night. Luckily, I'm clear of that. It was like about 10 minutes north of here at Fort Campbell's. I'm gonna try and move the Bronco indoors. I know. We're gonna try and get it to start and move. The transmission is full of 20 weight motor oil. Hopefully that's enough to engage the Kugamagans or whatever are in there. We don't have a throttle cable, but we have this piece of safety wire, and it goes through a whole throttle. And we have something that resembles brakes. One of the brakes works, which is enough. We're not going to go fast. We're not going on the road. We just want to turn it around. I mean, all we have to do is go from here, loop it around, and go to in there. I put my wiring back together a little bit. I apologize. Right now I'm down a cameraman for a few days, but let's just try and keep things moving. That's good. Got us encouragement. Team. Thought we were closer to running than this. It's definitely backfiring really bad. I think that means it's not advanced enough, or maybe it's too lean. I don't know. Okay, I can see it coming up on the sight glass. Maybe we'll give it just a little more advanced. Just a little more. Not a lot. Killed it. I mean, it's getting close now. No, it wants to choke. It's cold-blooded right now. Solenoid stuck. I think it's okay. No. Sticky solenoid. Of course it is! It's got a sticky solenoid. We would never have guessed that. Crap. So now the problem that we're having is that this starter solenoid, once it engages, it doesn't release. So the solenoid pushes the gear into place and then triggers a big switch for all the power to turn the starter. If it sticks, then the power doesn't, so we got to pull the thing off the thing. I guess that means most guys would just smack it with a hammer. I guess I'll start by smacking it with a hammer. I don't want to take the starter off and rebuild it right this second. It's cold. I want to get it inside. I had it running for just long enough that... Oh, the thing I can do now that I spun the torque converter around a bunch of times, I can probably see what the transmission fluid is going to look like. It looks brown. It's not foamy yet. I don't know. I'm going to have to drain it out like right away, but... So I crawled under there and looked, and this is clean. Somebody put a new starter on it. Parts can and clean. And some of you will say, oh, Kim, I'm so sorry, another starter rebuild. And like, no, this is great. It's warm in the shop today, and it is like a high of 46 outside. So like, this came off easy, 2 bolts, bam, dropped it, left the wire on. Like, this is a breeze. I'm gonna figure out why the solenoid right here flicks a lever which engages this gear and powers the motor, starter motor. So for some reason it's getting stuck. Maybe it's a little gummed up from sitting around, or it's possible that they cooked it trying and cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking. We're just gonna look it over and see if there's anything we can do for it. If not, we'll roll the whole thing over a hill and set it on fire again. We could see that the solenoid, it sticks. I don't know, is it supposed to stick? I don't think it's supposed to stick. Yeah, see, it's not supposed to stick. I don't know what's causing it to stick. It doesn't seem like this is the stickiness. There's stickiness in there somewhere where there should not be stickiness. We're on to something. Because if you wiggle it just right, it does unpop, so. At this point in the video, somebody's going to be yelling at the screen, Kim, it's not the starter! It's a Ford! You're working on the wrong part! I figured it out after like entirely too long of fussing with the starter. The thing on the firewall with all the wires. And it was like sticky, but I put it back together and put it on and didn't have any more problems with it, so on to the video. Back to the video. Probably needs a little better spring or something. I'm going to polish those little contact points, put it back together, and it'll work another 10 or 100 tries. It does something. It stalls the motor at least. It burns through the gas that's in the carburetor so fast, and I don't have a pump on it, so shoot. And I know that the gas in the tank it's gotta be garbage. Should I give it the gas that's in the tank? It seems like a mistake. The fuel system is connected to the tank again. Whatever's coming out of the tank is poopy. I mean, I got a filter so that it won't clog anything, but I don't think it burns very good. The choke needs a lot of adjustment, and it's just too cold. I'm going to charge the battery overnight and we'll reconvene tomorrow. Somehow it knows. It's on camera, so nothing can work. Like, it's got to really give me a challenge. It's a new day. You can't tell because I'm wearing the same clothes because I slept in them. And now I'm back at it. It's cold today, but we've got the fires burning. So if we can get this darn thing in the garage, it'll be warm to work on it. But by the time I get it in the garage, everything will be fixed. Nope. Okay, there's still a lot to fix. I've got my cold weather gear on, and I have been preparing for the first drive. And I did a little research last night because, you know, when I closed, it was only running on choke. And then when I let the throttle close all the way, it would just stall. So this is a clone of a Holley 4150. So I went and I looked it up and got base idle adjustment settings. It says between 1 and 2, start at 1.5. Turns out from seated, gently seated on your screws. So the first one I turned a half a turn and it hit the seat. And the other one I turned half and a quarter, so I turned 3/4 of a turn to seat. So basically there was no fuel in the idle circuit. So I've got them set at 1.5, which is as good as any type of start. And we know that it does a lot of the things that running engines need to do. So I really feel like there is a chance that it will start and run. The only good place for the camera is facing the sun. I put it on, if I put you on the downhill side, yeah, that won't be any good because I'll look 1,000 feet tall. There's no wind today for you to worry about. I need a lapel mic so I don't have to scream. It's all here. I'm actually ready to start this and drive. We did put it yesterday into drive. It stalled out the motor because of the idle mixture screws, but it stalled it out. That means the transmission engaged and grabbed the motor. So that's a really good sign that we've got stuff happening. I'm really convinced that today's the day we turn this around, move it 10 feet to put it in the garage so we can put the water pump on, which that's a whole nother thing that I get to tell you about. I mean, it's going. I was a little discouraged. Okay, a lot discouraged several times, but it can happen. We'll lock in the hubs, we'll drill up a mountain. We can do it. Let's do it. If we have a lot of problem, we'll give it a spritz of something a little bit hotter to get it started on a cold, because it's cold out here. But the choke flaps shut. I've got the choke pull off, the electric choke hooked to the ignition. The choke will pull off as it gets warmed up. I charged the battery last night because I'm thinking ahead. I'm getting it done. Kim fixes things. Okay. Switch, give it a couple pumps. Shouldn't have touched it. I think the choke's pulling off too quick. This is the kind of stuff I would like to adjust in the garage. Garbage fuel. It's sucking junk out of the tank. I just know it, because it ran good for a minute and now it's like blah. Aha! Found vacuum leaks. Vacuum leaks are really bad. They'll make it really lean. So I would try and show you they're somewhere where you don't see them very easily. So you're not going to see them easy. But I'll show you where the vacuum leaks are, just so you know how they get sneaky with their... I swear to gosh, they're trying to fool you. Okay, on the back of the manifold here, there's this vacuum tree. And you see the smoke coming out underneath here? There's a vacuum port right there and a vacuum port right there that I neglected to plug. This one that went to the, I plugged this one and I plugged this one. So we have 2 more vacuum and that is gonna make it run. It's gonna run again. That is gonna do it. We're gonna get it. I swear to goodness. I'll show you how we fix this. Show you how you fix this. No mechanic shop should be, especially on these old carbureted cars, if you're going to be working on them. I have been fishing in here for ages. Aha! Rubber vacuum cap assortment. Or you could use like a stick, some dirt, you know, pretend you're a mud dauber. You're saying she keeps saying that she's got it. She hasn't got it. I don't know. Those are pretty big vacuum leaks. You're thinking, how does Kim know to look for vacuum leaks? Well, you know, I set the carburetor right. You know, I went and researched and I knew how to set the carburetor. So I knew that it was set properly. And I knew that when I hold my hand over to give it a little choke, it's running. But without that, it's wheezing out. When I pump it, when I give it this accelerator pump, that gives us a lot of fuel. So I know when I do that, that makes it run. So I know it's starving for fuel. And I can see in the little sight glass that there's fuel in the carburetor. And I know that when I rev it, it runs pretty good on the fuel that I'm giving it. I was a little thinking maybe it's the fuel from the tank, but no, when you rev it, that fuel goes and then it pops. That's a lean pop. It'll backfire if it's too lean, if it doesn't have enough fuel in the mixture. So everything's telling me too lean. So I start looking for, you know, base gasket, whatever. And I look back there and I see a little smoke wisping out of there. It's like, oh, well, shoot. I don't know, maybe it backfired and blew the caps off, but I don't think they were ever there. No one's got this to run since the fire. So here we go. Okay, she's actually running now. I am going to see if she will move. Before, when I put her in gear, she just stalled because the engine was wheezing out of fuel. So, cross your fingers, knock on wood, say your little, "You can do it, Jim!" There she is! We drove her! We drove her! Yay! Now to get it in the garage, we gotta shut it off because it's got no water in it. It runs horrible. But it moves. And Once we get the water pump on there, we can warm it up and maybe sort it out a little bit. And that was rough. And oh, but it feels good, and I'm gonna be in the garage where it's warm. Ooh, warm fire, fire, burn, baby, disco inferno, burn, baby, burn, disco inferno. There you have it. A month in the making, the Bronco has arrived by its own power into the service bay. And we have heat. We're going to let her warm up. Well, let the motor and manifolds cool down. Let the rest of the vehicle warm up. And then we've got a water pump to install. That's going to be all for today. I'll see you in the next video.